Welcome to 30 at 6. Ralph Nestor, Master Carver.
Thanks for inviting me. I really appreciate it.
Ralph, you brought your fine feathered friends here, an array of tools, and you're going to tell us a little bit about carving ducks. It looks like this is something that's really difficult to do.
It's difficult, but there's a lot of study materials these days, videos. You can go to different places and take lessons, but the most important thing is detail. You know, you concentrate. You do as much research as you do carving time.
How about
the
that?
The research is probably the most important, so you don't make a mistake.
And this little guy is your first?
That is my first carving. I was working as a union laborer and a millwright, and a friend of mine stopped by and he said, "Ralph, let's start carving some decoys." I said, "Man, I don't want to get into that. I've got other stuff to do." He said, "Come on, let's do it." So we started with probably one of the most difficult birds, that red-breasted merganser. And if you'll notice, he's square. He isn't rounded and doesn't really have the right texture and shape on him. But that started it, and I've been carving ever since. And I just slowly got into it, into more detail, going to more shows, taking more lessons.
And you've got a big show coming up, right?
Yes, Ocean City, Maryland, at the Convention Center.
That's the world?
That's called the Ward World Foundation competition.
Wow. Now, will you be bringing any of these ducks?
No, once you've shown a bird, you can only show it 1 year.
Right, okay. So you have something you're working on that you're going to
yes,
bring to Ocean
yes.
City, and that's the end of
If
April?
If I make it.
Right. If we all make it.
Right, there you go. If you complete the project is what I should have said.
So these knives, you were telling me about an eagle that you made. You started actually with a chainsaw.
I started with a chainsaw. It was a square block of Tupelo gum that comes out of the south, out of the swamps. And they only use the first 6 feet of it. After that, it's too grainy. Tupelo gum is very dense, but you can actually texture it with your fingernail. It's soft also, but you couldn't split it with an axe if you tried.
No, I've had some gum that I tried to split.
Oh yeah, you know what gum is. Then if you try to split it for firewood, it don't work.
It's tennis elbow waiting to happen.
Right.
Anyway, all these tools here, Ralph. So if you say you started with a chainsaw, you eventually get to this stuff here.
Oh
too.
yes, you do. Once you do the rough work with a chainsaw, you'll get draw knives, and then you'll get down to automated or like a rotary tool.
Like
some
these?
people call them Dremels, yes. But we start with a 2-inch burrs and you slowly work yourself down. But the best shaping that you can do is with an automatic or a motorized tool has a flat surface, and you can only do so much with it. With the knives, if you take the knives, you can be more delicate, you can get more shape, you can just get a better feel of the bird with a knife.
These are lifelike looking critters.
Yes, well, I had someone tell me one time, and they said, "Ralph, you might as well cheat and not put all the texture in it because you can't make a bird look real." Well, that sort of, I didn't like that, so I put all the effort that I possibly can into a bird, and some of my birds are very realistic looking.
Now, if somebody wanted you to carve a bird for them, how would they contact you?
Chesapeake Bay Studio Decoys. On the I have a Facebook or on the internet.
Wow. And you studied under some of the old master carvers, like you were telling me, Bill Veazey?
Yeah, Mr. Bill Veazey. He's a character. He's a wonderful carver. He's been carving for a lot of years and a great teacher, great attitude. And he told me one time, he said, "Ralph," he said, it's simple how to carve a duck. I said, "What do you mean?" He said, "It's simple. You take a square block of wood and you take away everything that doesn't look like a duck." That's one thing I learned from a guy by the name of Pat Godden. He was 15-time world champion in Canada. And he was married to another carver's wife or daughter in Louisiana, Brunet, who was another top carver in the world, and they taught soft painting. And this is a lesson that I took down there on a mallard hen on how to blend paints, how to And that's very critical. To go from one area to another, you have to, you don't have a stark line. You have a nice smooth transition.
Yes.
And this is just a study bird here. It's a plastic study bird, while this is a carved bird.
Right.
And this is my first bird that I won't sell. I made that for my son. I lost my son in 2001, so he stays. He don't go anywhere.
Well, Ralph, you've opened my eyes to some of this carving, and you got a show in Ocean City. People can contact you at Chesapeake Bay Studio Decoys if they want to learn more about how to get into this this hobby, this
Yes.
craft, this art. And don't forget, Ocean City World Show of Carving, right?
Yes.
End of April.
Yes.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much for having me. Appreciate it.